Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something huge, something that handles, 90% of the world's goods.
That's right, the smart port revolution. It's this massive digital transformation of global maritime logistics.
But the sources you sent over, they suggest this push for efficiency has created a really serious flaw.
A fatal flaw. We've created what I'd call a massive resiliency gap.
A resiliency gap.
Yeah, you have the operational technology, the OT that moves the actual cranes and containers, and then the IT, the information tech that manages all the data.
And they're converging.
They're converging on centralized cloud computing. And that right there is your single catastrophic point of failure. The asset thereafter isn't the port itself, it's the data.
So our mission today is to unpack that. We need to zero in on this threat of information disclosure and why everyone seems to be pointing to 2026 as this critical tipping point.
It's the convergence of AI-driven threats and, just intense geopolitical friction.
Right. And the real threat here, it's not some Hollywood explosion at the docks, is it? It's much quieter.
Much quieter. It's the exposure of the supply chain's digital nervous system. That information disclosure gives an adversary the complete roadmap to paralyze trade.
It's a data goldmine.
Absolutely. Cargo manifests, bills of lading, insurance docs, it's all there, perfect for industrial espionage. But what's truly terrifying is this vector they call the invisible change attack.
Wait, invisible change? How can you change a digital record without setting off every alarm in the building?
Well, the attackers get into these centralized systems, and they just subtly swap the digital identity tags of two containers.
So like one container of iPhones and one that's empty.
Exactly. They swap the records. The physical high-value container gets diverted and stolen, but the system reports the empty one is the one that's missing.
And no one knows until it's way too late.
The theft goes completely undetected for weeks.
If you need an example of this centralization trap, we just have to look at Maersk back in 2017, right? The NotPetya attack.
That is the defining case study, and the malware wasn't even aimed at them.
And it still almost bankrupted their entire global business.
Because it propagated through their centralized Active Directory. And for anyone listening, that's basically the master key. It handles all the user credentials for the entire company.
So once that master key was compromised?
Boom. 45,000 PCs and 4,000 servers just stopped. The central brain was dead.
A $300 million price tag on that one.
$300 million. But here's the craziest part, the key insight. Maersk was only saved because a single lone domain controller in Ghana was offline.
Why?
A power outage. That accidental decentralization was the only clean copy they could restore from. It's almost poetic proof of how fragile this all is.
A power outage in Ghana saved a global corporation.
Mm-hmm.
That is unbelievable. And it proves this centralized model it's not sustainable, not with what's coming toward 2026.
It's not.
So what's the architectural solution? How do we move forward?
The shift has to be towards decentralized physical infrastructure networks. DePIN. We have to stop thinking of ports as private corporate servers.
And start treating them like a secure public utility.
Exactly, like a distributed public utility.
Okay, so you called DePIN anti-fragile. What does that actually look like in practice compared to the Maersk failure?
Anti-fragile means it actually gets stronger under stress. So instead of one central brain, the data and the compute power are spread across thousands of independent nodes.
So even if an attack takes out half the network?
Even if AI-driven malware takes out 50% of the nodes, the other half just keeps operating. They keep verifying the ledger. You can't kill it with a single strike.
Where is this already working? Are there real-world examples?
Sure. Look at decentralized storage systems like IPFS. They don't ask, where is the file? They ask, what is the unique cryptographic fingerprint of this file? It's hashed.
So if a hacker tries that invisible change attack,
the second they change one byte of data, the fingerprint, that hash, it completely changes. The tampering is flagged instantly. It prevents silent corruption.
That's brilliant.
And we're seeing companies like T-Mining using blockchain tokens to replace insecure PIN codes for container release. It solves a huge physical and digital weak link at the same time.
So this all leads to a really disturbing final scenario.
It does. The ultimate vulnerability isn't just about theft. It's about weaponized economic disruption. The nightmare scenario for 2026 is what's being called the short and shut strategy.
Short and shut.
An attacker uses leaked manifest data for high-level insider trading. They figure out which retail stocks to short, and then they trigger a paralyzing port shutdown.
Ensuring those stock prices plummet and their shorts pay off massively.
That's the end game.
The convergence of these threats is making the global supply chain dangerously brittle. So the thought we want to leave you with is this. If 90% of global trade runs on this kind of fragile, centralized model, what other critical infrastructure in your daily life, your power, your water, is also relying on just a single point of failure?